Is Mac 1105 College Algebra, Chapter 2, Section 3. A lot of information in this section, so I'm going to have to do it in two different videos. So this is part 1 of this video. Okay, this begins with the title of the chapter is lines. And so the first thing it talks about is slope. Make sure you understand that slope is change. The delta sign means, the triangle means delta. Delta means change, so it's change in y over change in x. You might have heard rise over run. The mathematical formula is taking your second y minus your first y on top, divided by your second x minus your first x on the bottom. The universal mathematical variable for slope is the little m. Here's an example. This is example 1. Let's find the slope containing 1, 2, and 5, negative 3. So what happens here is you can see that I labeled 1 and 2 as x1, y1. I labeled 5, negative 3 as x2, y2. That's to help me to make sure I put the numbers in the right place. So negative 3 goes on top and y2. 2 goes here, so it's a minus 2. Here the 5 goes here. Here the 1 goes here. I'm just using the formula up above. Do the math and I get negative 5 over 4. Now, when you're dealing with slope, it's always good to keep that negative sign at the top, because then that means in terms of a negative slope, you're going to go down for the top number, to the right for the bottom. If it was a positive slope, you would go up and still to the right. So keeping the negative there helps you understand that. Remember that we can do that because in fractions, if I have a negative 2/3, I can write that as a negative 2 over 3 or a positive 2 over a negative 3. I can't write it as a negative 2 over a negative 3 because negative over a negative would make it positive. So I have the liberty to put the negative sign on the top or the bottom or in the middle. For slope, we want to keep it on top. There are 4 types of slope, 4 different kinds of slopes. First of all, positive slope means that, and take it for granted, we read graphs from left to right. So if I'm looking at this graph, I know I have a positive slope because as I come from the left, my line is going up in a positive direction. Negative slope, as I come from the left, my line is falling. So that's one way to recognize positive and negative slope, just by graphs. The other 2 types of slopes we have deal with straight lines. They also deal with equations. If I have an equation of x equals 5, that is an equation of a vertical line going through 5 on the x-axis. The slope for all x equals the numbers, vertical lines, is undefined. One of the things I have to recognize is that in vertical lines, the x's for all ordered pairs are the same value. It's one way I recognize it. Second thing is, if I set it up in a slope formula, made this x1, y1, this x2, y2, you'll see that I get 0 on the bottom of the fraction. Anytime I get 0 on the bottom of a fraction, it's undefined. If I get 0 on top of a fraction, it's 0. So make sure you understand, this is the reason why when you have problems and you're solving for ordered pairs, as an answer, do not leave me x equals 5, x equals, or y equals 3. I will mark it wrong. If you're solving for an ordered pair, you put your answer as an ordered pair. So you'd put parentheses, 5, comma, 3, parentheses. Here's the last type of slope we have. This is the slope of 0. And this is where we have equations of lines that are y equals a number. Whenever y equals a number, it's a horizontal line going through that number on the y-axis. Here I have y equals 2. So it's a horizontal line going through 2 on the y-axis. Same thing happens. Here I've got this ordered pair of negative 3, 2. Here I've got the ordered pair of 5, 2. If I put it in the slope formula, you'll see that the 2's cancel out. I get 0 on top, which means I have a slope of 0. Okay. So just like with x equals a number, when y equals a number, all my ordered pairs are going to have the same y. So it helps me to understand that I have a horizontal line. Let's look at this example problem from the book. This is on page 173. It says, find an equation of the horizontal line containing the point 3, 2. Well, if I know it's a horizontal line, I know the slope is 0. I also know that it's a horizontal line going through whatever y is in the ordered pair. That's the reason it's y equals 2. Okay, the rest of this section is going to deal with slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is slope, b is the y-intercept. Standard form, which is ax plus by equals c, and we'll talk more about this later. And then point slope, which is y, which you'll never put a number in for y, minus y1 equals m, which is slope, times x minus x1. You'll never put a number in for x. So for point slope, you need exactly what the name says. You need a point and a slope, and you can take this to either standard form or slope-intercept form. You've got to remember that all three of these are interchangeable. They actually define, with the same numbers, the same equation.